All right, guys, we are kicking off our final week of our Push to Diamond group, and we have Amy on here. It's going to be giving us some tips on organization, so I'm excited to hear from you, Amy. If you haven't muted yourself, go ahead and mute your sound. I think I got everyone. And go ahead and introduce yourself, Amy. We'll let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so huge honor to be speaking on your team. Obviously, you guys have the best of the best as your upline, and that has to just be so inspiring every day. And so when Melanie asked me to speak, it's like, well, what do you need me to speak about that you don't already share in the knowledge and the wealth to your team? But sometimes it's good to just have that other perspective or just put into a different, way of thinking. So hopefully I can provide you with some tangible takeaways where you can say, oh, I never thought of it like that. But she kind of just asked me to speak about, building your tribe, reaching out, and organization. So I'm just going to, kind of quickly scan over those. And then maybe at the end, I love doing Q&A, just kind of more raw for what you need. But to introduce myself, I became a coach October of 2015. I was working full-time as a teacher. I taught kindergarten for 7 years before becoming a full-time coach. So I was a full-time teacher, just got married, just bought a house that was a complete dump, so we had to renovate everything. Just got a brand new puppy named Moose, which was our pride and joy. So there were a lot of news that were happening, and the reason why I took the leap for coaching was because I knew coming back from the honeymoon, I would need some motivation and inspiration to kind of keep going in my fitness journey. I had always been athletic and fitness had always been a priority, but I did not know how to balance it. So I either was an extremist and would be like depriving myself of everything great and running 10 miles for training for marathons, or I would be binge eating on, peanut butter M&Ms on my couch and not work out for weeks. So I had a very hard time finding balance. And when my coach, Jamie Innes, who is out of Rockford, Michigan, she contacted me 3 times on Instagram, and I shut her down all 3 times. And finally, something in me said, okay, this girl believes in me. Why not? Give it a chance. And so I joined one of her coaching sneak peeks. I thought Sarah was going to dance for us. That was kind of fun. I love it, Sarah. And joined one of her coaching sneak peeks. At that time, she did like a 5-day coach preview or whatever, where you post 1 video a day. And by the 3rd video, I was like, all right, I'll give the challenge pack a try, but I'm not going to sign up as a coach. I was very stubborn. Because I had been burned by MLMs in the past. So I had done other companies where, you promoted products and things like that. And I just wasn't ready to get into something else. So anyway, signed up, got the challenge pack, and within 3 days was like, yep, I'm going to sign up for the discount because the Shakeology was liquid gold. I was going through IBS issues, gut issues, getting sick after eating food, and it finally was starting to make me feel okay. I could not stomach food in the morning, and so the Shakeology was exactly what I needed. So anyway, I signed up for the discount and started getting awesome results and posting a little bit about that. And so my family and friends obviously were interested. So I guess you could categorize me as a hobby coach. And then all of a sudden, after my 21-day transformation, my before and after just blew up. I started Instagram 2.5 years ago with like 400 followers. So to just give you an idea of what a before and after photo can really do for your business, being proof of that product, getting those results, going in 100%. I did not have one cheat day on my first 21-day Fix Extreme round. And I was able to share my story raw and real without, any, plan to sell people anything. It was just like me wanting to shout it out from the rooftops because I was passionate about it and it made me feel good. And so that's what I do every single day from day 1 to today is I'm not ever aiming to get challenge point or what are they called? Success Club points. Whoa. I'm never like a goal of, okay, I need to get Success Club 10 this day, Success Club 20 this day. I'm just always just wanting to share my story and share with those people who could be struggling right now as well and be where I was 2.5 years ago. And I think that's really important about my story and how I share my story on Instagram and going from 400 followers to almost 60,000 followers today. So it's really crazy because people ask me, well, what did you do? And it's honestly, I wish I could give you a secret formula and tell you all you have to do is this, but I think you've heard it before, but it's just consistently being real, relatable, and raw. And just preaching that every single day to your team so that they can get that message across too. Because so many times, you know, with Beachbody having 450,000 coaches all trying to kind of share their story, you know, it's really special when somebody chooses you as their coach. And so never let that moment go unnoticed. Always find gratitude. You know, out of 450,000 coaches, they are choosing you to have as their coach. And so I wake up every morning and thank God for that opportunity to lead them and to help them in some way. And I think that's what's so special about what we do. So that's a little bit about me. My pride and joy is Moose. He kind of is the reason why I have so many followers, I believe. People are like, oh, you should get Moose a separate Instagram. And I'm like, nope, because then I probably lose 30,000 people, just to be honest. But I just honestly, like, I'm, again, so humbled to be here, and I'll just kind of get into the juice of my presentation. So first I'm going to talk a little bit more about like inviting, because Melanie said that some of you want some just like step-by-step instructions. So before I go into, it's so hard to relate to you because I don't know your stories, your backgrounds, but just to give you an idea, when I started as coaching, I was working full-time teaching, which if you're a teacher or you have a full-time job, you know the demands of that. It was not just a 9-to-5 job. It was, you know, cutting out laminate, being late at school, making art project cutouts, things like that. So my time was really consumed. Yeah, Megan, I love it. My time was really consumed by my teaching job. So I really had to find my pockets of time where I could make this work. I'm a type A perfectionist, and so everything needs to be pretty. I was the type of girl who, if I made a mistake in a notebook, like on a piece of paper, I had to rip the whole page out and start rewriting my notes so it looked perfect. Like, legit, you guys. I probably should have seen a therapist about it, but whatever. I'm still alive today. But so I had to get out of my head and be like, Amy, you cannot have that time where people are saying power hour, power hour, power hour, because you don't have a power hour. You don't have an hour to devote to coaching. So I had to be okay with my power pockets. I had to be okay with the fact that I finished my lunch, my afternoon is prepped for my kids, I have 15 minutes, I'm going to use these 15 minutes to the best of its potential that I can. And so at that point in my time, 2.5 years ago, I wrote all of my reach outs and tracking on a notebook, and I carried that notebook to school every day, and I carried it back home. Obviously my systems of tracking and keeping, you know, track of all those people has changed, but the notebook is a great starting point. And what I would do is I would just find, you know, a hashtag. At the time I targeted a lot of newlyweds. I targeted a lot of teachers because I could relate to them. Obviously we're stressed. There's constant temptations in the workroom. You might get a parent that just bitched you out on the phone and now you want to go drink a whole bottle of wine. Like, those are the types of things that I looked for to try and just relate to people. So I would, and I came from a Tone It Up kind of background, so I did do the Tone It Up programs as well. So I kind of reached out to those Tone It Up teachers, kind of asking them if they'd be interested in joining my challenge group after having that conversation of, oh my gosh, I stumbled upon your profile. I noticed you're a teacher too. I used to do Tone It Up as well. You know, which program are you in right now? And then we would talk about it, and then I would transition into my challenge group. So anyway, I would put their Instagram handle on a sheet of paper. I would write their name if it listed it in their profile next to it. And if she contacted me back, I would either do like a check mark or I would highlight. So you can kind of come up with your own system to help you track, you know, okay, the first conversation, they get a check mark. If I sent them the steps to look at my site, they get a highlight. And that way, you know, if they haven't purchased yet, you know, if they purchase, you circle them or whatever. If they haven't purchased yet, then you know which ones you need to follow up with. And so basically that was the way that I tracked my reach outs and was able to when I was pushing for Diamond, I literally was reaching out to 30 to 50 people a day. And so instead of doing copy and paste type of scripts, which I don't recommend, definitely needing to do your research, looking through their profile, making sure they're already not using Shakeology products or the containers. Do a casual opening. I always start with, oh my gosh, I just stumbled upon your profile. Like, we share a lot in common. Show that you care, create that emotional connection. And that's why I targeted teachers, because I had that emotional connection with them. And then basically just inviting them to your next opportunity. Just be like, girl, we have so much in common. I love that you value your health and fitness. I have this challenge group coming up on May 14th, and I was just curious, would you want me to save you a spot? Let me talk to you more about it, or let me show you the information that you need, and you can make that decision and let me know. I always end it with let me know or a question, and I know that you guys have heard that before, but that is the most brilliant way to engage in that conversation, for them to respectfully answer back. If they do not respond back, or let's say you sent them your information and it's crickets and you thought that they were for sure going to join you, then I hold off on them for about, couple weeks. And then I just go back and I say, hey, Julie, I remember back when we chatted and you said that you were super interested in, a happier and healthier lifestyle. I understand at that time wasn't working out for you best, but I just want to let you know that I have another group coming up. Do you want me to save you a spot? And that was just kind of my way of saying that I still care. I'm still here for you. But if you don't want to, then let me know and I'll take you off my list, kind of thing. And that really helped me stay on top of those people who I truly wanted to help. So it wasn't just, again, for the successful points. It wasn't just for the sale. But I needed to ask myself, what is my goal for this person? What do I want to help this person accomplish? They tell me that they are unhappy in their clothes, or they just had a baby and they don't feel like themselves right now. And, that is why I'm reaching out to them again. That is why I'm contacting them and asking them and inviting them to my group. I hate the word recruiting. It's just me, but I know it's part of the business, but I just think of it as inviting. We have these incredible tools that Beachbody has provided to us. We don't have to have any personal training certifications. We don't have to go to school for this. Beachbody does all that work for us. Now we're just the messengers. We get to be the angels that can help those people who are struggling and need our help. And so there's nothing icky about that. And so anytime a coach comes to me and says, oh, I don't want to be salesy, or I don't want to constantly be bugging them, to me, you're not, because people are stubborn. People have failed in the past. I know I've failed in the past. And so when Jamie contacted me, I said no 3 times before I said yes. And so you're by constantly reaching out, and I'm not saying do it every day, but give it a little grace period. But by constantly reaching out, you're showing them that you care and that you're truly there for them. If they still say no, I strongly preach the power of a free group. And so what I do, and this is just my system that's worked really well for me and really well for my coaches, is we do a 7-day clean eating group at the end of every month. And so if people have a price objection or time objection, or they're just not sure, they're borderline, or they're not ready to invest the money into themselves, I just offer them that 14-day free trial. I put them into a 7-day free group where I give them a 7-day eating plan. We talk about, you could order the Shakeology sampler if you want, but it's not required. I want this to be completely free for you. And I walk them through what Beachbody On Demand has to offer. And it's kind of like, giving them that preview for what's to come. And so in that free group, I get to show them who I am as a person, who I am as their coach, what I do to hold them accountable and to support them, what I have to offer nutrition-wise, the recipes that Beachbody offers, that type of support. And they get a sneak peek into Beachbody On Demand. And I feel like once somebody sees the magic in Beachbody On Demand and just like the potential that it has, I mean, it's hard to say no to having it at your fingertips. And so I always recommend running that group at the end of the month, because then on that Friday, we personally contact the people we've invited into that group, and we ask them how their experience was for the past 5 days. Usually, I've only had one that said they hated it, but usually they love it, and they love the support, they love the community, and they love the programs, and they love that they can do it from home. So I take all of that love and I just offer them my group coming up the next month. And then it's like they trust you, they know what to expect, and now they're ready. And the reason I do it at the end of the month is because then I have them order on the 1st, and then I don't have to worry, about anything, I guess, for that prior month. You hit your Success Club goal if you have that, and it's good to go. So I always run my challenge groups on the 2nd Monday and the 4th Monday of every month. So then I have 2 waves of people I can help. So I always do a prep week before, and just, it's really important to organize your calendar. I could do a whole nother talk on how to do that, but I know that Melanie is a genius on organizing her calendar. She shared with us at New Leadership Conference, and let me just tell you, calendar, Google Calendar has been life-changing, so thank you, Melanie. Okay, so how many times do I post a call to action? This one, at the beginning, I tried to do more of a system with. And now as my business is growing and, I'm kind of to that point where things are just naturally falling into place. So I'm going to speak to you like I was when I was trying to build my business way at the beginning. I would post my challenge group call to action every Sunday and Monday night. And I would do that 2 weeks before my challenge group date, because again, I wanted them to order their challenge pack in time for the actual start date, but I also wanted to get them into a full week of prep week. And so, looking at your calendar, and it's great that May is coming up so you girls can do this, but take your calendar and just visualize, okay, I want to start my 21-day boot camp here. My prep week is here. So my call to action last call needs to be here because I want them to order by this date. And that way they'll get their pack during prep week, and they'll have everything they need for their challenge group. So it does take a lot of organizing and planning, but once you consistently do it, it's going to be so much easier to just kind of naturally flow with it each month. So I would post my before and after photos on Sunday nights, and I would do some type of like what coaching has given to me on Monday nights. And then I would breadcrumb coaching invites. So if I had a picture of my girls, or we had a mini team retreat, or, I was able to go and purchase a tank of gas with cash, I would post little snippets about how I was never able to do these things without being blessed with the coaching opportunity. And then at the end, I wouldn't say, I'm looking for 5 women to contact me today. Like, instead, I would just say, if you're ever interested about what I do as a coach, I would love to share my heart with you. Please reach out to me. Here's my email. And that way, if I had people like or follow me after posting that post, then I kind of went and targeted them to liking the photo and just saying, hey girl, I noticed that you loved this post, wanting to know if you'd be interested in joining my coaching sneak peek. It's completely, no strings attached. I just want to share my experiences and my heart with you. Would you be interested? And that's all it took. So that's kind of how I went from recruiting, I hate that word, inviting or, having, recruiting like 2 coaches a month to now recruiting close to 30 coaches a month, because I truly just kind of go into, if I can do this, why couldn't you type of mentality. And I do that with my breadcrumbs. So I don't love the, hey, looking for 5 people type of posts. Instead, share your story, share what Beachbody has given to you. I always tell my coaches, talk about who you were before Beachbody. Who was that Amy before Beachbody? I was lost. I was depressed. I was constantly on a rat wheel. I didn't know what balance was. I had a lot of body self-love problems because I didn't have PD in my life. So I talked about all those things, and then I would kind of transition to who I am now. And basically, and not to be cheesy about it, but like Beachbody saved my life. And so that's how I need to speak in my posts. I need people to realize how life-changing this is. And sometimes I'll make, jokes about it. Like, yeah, we are a pyramid, but there's nothing schemy about what we do. And, everything is shaped like a pyramid. We have our superintendent, and then we have our principals, and then we have our teachers, and then we have our paras. So like, yeah, everything's shaped like a pyramid, but let me tell you a little bit more about it, because I have just helped someone get off of their high cholesterol medication. And I think there's more to this that I want to share with you. So objections, you have to go in with kindness, and just kind of make a joke about it, because there's going to be so many people who are skeptical of it. All right, so I want you to picture an iceberg when you're posting your posts. So picture an iceberg. So an iceberg always has just like the tip sticking out of the water, and then it has this huge giant mass underneath, and you never see what's underneath. You only see the tip of the iceberg sticking out. And so when you're posting, having that mental analogy in your head, before you click submit, think to yourself, is this post just really surface level? Is this just the tip of the iceberg? Or could I go deeper? Could I go under the water and describe a little bit more about my life to make that connection with somebody who desperately needs my help? So whenever I talk about, my anxiety or my depression, there's a lot of things that can come from that. And I don't want to attract the people who desperately need a therapist. I don't want to be a therapist. I want people who are dealing with those types of things, but want to be proactive to help themselves get out of that rut. And so when I'm posting about dark things in my life, I don't just want to post the tip. I want to really dig deeper so that other people can relate to that and then have some type of solution to offer them, so that they can then transform their lives too. Because again, if I could do it, why couldn't they? So when you're posting, don't just do surface level posts. Really dig deep, and again, compare your story. Who were you before and who are you now? Those types of posts are going to be so much more meaningful than a sweaty selfie you flexing and saying, day 53, did it, crushed it. Now it's time to go get ready for my day. Talk about the fact that you've never done a journey for 53 days long, and just really help people see that this isn't normal for you. The only reason you're succeeding right now is because of your positive and uplifting coach, or your community of boss babes who are helping you and cheering you along, and your challenge groups that fill you up because you know that you're going to commit to these girls who are doing it alongside you. So really just explaining. People don't understand what challenge groups are. They don't understand what PD means. So you need to really just start over-explaining these types of things so people can be like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. I want to be a part of it. I love the iceberg analogy though, because it really, really is simple but makes sense. Okay. Let's see. The other thing that's important to know or to think about is, do your followers, or do people who are, just scrolling past your photo, do they know the value of what you have to offer? Do they know what it is that you do as a coach? At least once a week, I try to describe my day in the life, or what it is that I truly do. Leave 21-day challenge group, 3 weeks, Beachbody, Shakeology, portion controls. Leave that out of it. And instead use real stories of your customers or your coaches who have transformed their lives because of this opportunity. Explain to them in your posts or in a personal email, as a coach, I provide this. As a coach, I provide accountability. Use those trigger words. Accountability, support, positivity, uplifting, tools to help you succeed, fun, community. All of those things are things that people want. I know as an adult, getting out of college and not really having your friendship circle anymore, finding that tribe of people who have like-minded thoughts like me was so crucial. And so that was really what I was searching for. The fitness and the health and everything else was just like it was like a big added bonus, but it was honestly kind of second best to the friendships I have developed from this. So I try to talk about how I've met my best friends from this company and from this opportunity. So really make sure that every single week you are explaining the value of what it is that this offers people. All right, as far as tracking and following up, I shared with you at the beginning of my journey, and that was 2.5 years ago, I used paper pencil. I was such a paper pencil girl. I loved colors. Everything was color coordinated. My OCD brain was just in heaven with my colors. And I just remember losing track because I was reaching out to 50 people a day. I wanted to be diamond. I wanted to make my coach, Jamie, she was reaching for 5-star in her second business center. So I wanted to be a part of that. And so diamond was on my brain, but I could not keep track of my reach outs. It would take me days to kind of stream back and find the person that I was now, because some people don't respond right away. And so I moved into Streak on Google, which was tough for me because, again, I love my paper pencil. But take a week and learn Streak. It's free. It's awesome. And it's so helpful because now I can categorize every single person. Every single person that emails me, and I'll tell you right now because, I get about 100 to 200 emails a day, which is mind-blowing, and I'm so grateful for it. But at the same time, it is my frog. It stresses me out because as their coach, I want to be able to reply right away. But with Google Streak, these people all have a color. And so as I'm scrolling through, because I've organized them by importance, that sounds really bad. I've organized them by, priority. And if they need to get into a challenge group right now, I need to answer them instead of, my girls who are going through coach prep school. They could probably wait a couple more hours for a response. Because of how organized I am in Google Streak, I know where these people are, what they need from me, and it's brilliant. But you guys, Google Streak is tough to learn if you don't use it. Just like anything else. It's just like riding a bike, The first time you tried without training wheels and you fell, if you just said, nope, and put the bike in the garage and never learned how to ride a bike because you failed, it's going to be frustrating at the beginning. And just watch YouTube videos. That's all I did for a week straight is I watched YouTube videos. I got ideas. I figured it out. And then I just made sure I was disciplined and implemented it every single day. Because if you get behind, it's kind of a mess to try and, redo. So it's just a habit now. And I love Google Streak. So no matter what system you use, I've also used High Achievers Playbook. That was another paper pencil type of tracker. And I've also tried Excel on Google Docs, but Google Streak is by far my favorite. No matter what, you need to write these people down. They are a person that you could change their life. And if you let them slip through, you could be missing out on a really awesome opportunity. And a lot of my diamond coaches, I'm currently a 7-star in my first business center and a 4-star in my second. But I would say, so out of the 11 diamonds, I would say 6 or 7 of them started as, somebody I had to reach out a couple times to, somebody I had to follow up with, somebody who said no to Shakeology. My top leader, Amanda, she was like, no, I have my own protein, thanks. And she was like that for about 6 months until she finally was like, okay, I'll try it. And now she just left her corporate job. She's a boss babe. I love her to death. And I'm part of her wedding now. So that just goes to show, you cannot, just because someone doesn't answer you or doesn't say yes right away, you cannot discredit them that they won't ever, or they won't be a part of your life. So you have to write them down and you have to follow up with them. And then you have to find your system that works. Maybe Google Streak, even though I'm preaching it right now, isn't your thing. That's fine, but you have to find an alternative that's going to work. And then always remember, as cheesy as it sounds, the no's and the crickets are still seeds planted. It's just like when you're going to go buy a car and you love this model of a car, and then you walk away and you're thinking about this car and you see this car driving by you and you see the car in the parking lot, you see the car in your neighbor's driveway, and you see the car everywhere now. But you never saw the car before until it was on your radar. So you inviting to this Beachbody opportunity or to a challenge group or to a free group, it's going to be on their radar now. And they're probably going to start seeing infomercials and hearing their coworkers talk about it. And they're going to see those little colorful containers, you know, in the work office or whatever. And so then they're going to remember, hey, I remember when Amy reached out to me, I might want to give this a try. So don't let the no's affect you. You guys, if I let the no's affect you, I would have quit probably day 2. So I'm really glad I didn't. But it's just one of those things where you're building a business. So you have to start creating a thick skin and just remembering, I have something so awesome to give, and I'm not ashamed of that. And I'm just going to keep moving forward. Let's see. Let me go into questions, because I honestly could talk all day. I love teaching. I love, you know, just sharing my heart with you guys. But I would love to just kind of answer some more targeted questions towards your needs. So then not just preaching to what you already know. So if you have a question, go ahead and put that in the chat.
Yeah, there's a couple of them already in there. The
Okay.
one thing that you shared that jumps out at me, though, is in the very beginning when you said you were working towards Diamond, you were messaging 50 people a day.
A day.
And I think that's the part that so many people get hung up on. It's like, well, how do you get this many numbers? And it's a numbers game.
It is.
And
Yep.
it's also a compound effect result, where if you didn't reach out to 50 people a day 2.5 years ago, you wouldn't then have all the people you have today. So I think that's just important. I mean, I want to hear your insight and answer these questions.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them there, but I think like being aware that it's not that you got some secret little fairy dust that allowed you to do this. It's because you made that decision. I'm going to get to Diamond, and if it takes talking to 50 people a day, then I'll talk to 50 people a day. And every one of those no's, probably most of them, have all come back around throughout these years to become customers of yours. So
yeah, it's definitely the compound effect of what you do today is going to pay off in 6 months.
Yep.
And so when new coaches reach out to me, they are so frustrated because they just started last week and they can't get anyone on board. It's like, girlfriend, you have to build your trust with your people. You have to, create the relationships, and it's going to take time. The wealthiest people who have the most successful businesses did not create the wealthiest, most successful business within 3 months. It took years, and they probably started at the bottom and worked their way up. Same thing applies to what you're doing today. What you are putting forth, your efforts today, is going to pay off in 6 months. So if you're an instant gratification type of girl, I'm sorry, but you're going to have a tough road ahead of you. And that's where PD comes into play. Filling your brain up with those positive affirmations, thanking, I'm faith-based, sorry if you're not, but thanking God for everything He's provided with you. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Even during your hardest days, even though I may get 7 coach cancellations in one day, I'm still grateful for the people I still have, and so just kind of gearing your attention towards all that you have to be grateful for instead of focusing on the one negative. And that goes for the trolls on Instagram as well, which I'm also dealing with. But it's been a fun learning experience. Okay, so I'm just going to start at the top. Rachel said 30 coaches a month. Yep, anywhere between 20 and 30 is kind of my happy place. How in the world do you have relationships and help them all? So my process with my coaching, new coach is kind of my pride and joy. My team is like one big happy family. We're always there for each other. We're cheering each other on. And so when they become a coach, I put them into a new coach mentorship group where I have kind of a little bit of a post each day for about 25 days that just kind of gives them insight, gives them a little information. We have some fun, encourages them to do this. We have them write out their story. We do, just some fun team bonding experiences, I guess you could say, in a new coach mentorship. So I run a new coach mentorship every single month. And let's say a coach signs up, this week, I would put them into my May new coach mentorship because they kind of missed that relationship building at the beginning. So I allow my new coaches to come into my challenge group and be a part of my challenge group because, again, the most important thing that you could ever post is a before and after, sharing how you have received results of these products. And I want that for them. And then they can kind of see how I run a challenge group. And then they have the opportunity to put their prospects and if they have new coaches, into these groups as well. Once they read through my coach welcome email, and I kind of put together like a new coach welcome book packet PDF type of thing. Once they read through that, they email me back. They get a link to, what's it called? What is the, oh, this is embarrassing. Hold on, I'm having a brain fart. It's a website that's incredible, and I've put my whole coach prep school on that site. One second. Brain fart. Thinkific. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Thinkific, but it's a great, I'll type it in here. So it's a great website. It's free, and you can create modules for your coaches to go and learn the basics of what they need to know. So in Thinkific, I have 14 days where they can choose if they want to get it all done in one weekend or kind of do one a day or space it out depending on their schedule. So once they get through the 14 modules, and they have to email me each module while they're going through it, so I know what their process is, and that's how I kind of get to know them as well. I get to know them by their answers to my questions in each module, and we'll have back and forth conversations during that time. Once they're done with the Thinkific course, then I have a coach one-on-one with them. And, I don't put a time limit on it just because if they have a lot of questions, I want to be able to answer those for them. But if they don't have a lot of questions, then we'll go over their Instagram and we'll talk about what they can improve in, or, what their next action steps are. And then I always want to find out their why and figure out why they're doing this in the first place. My why changed probably 40 times while I was coaching. Again, I wanted Shakeology at a discount, and then I wanted to be able to leave my teaching job. So there's a big gap in between there where my why constantly was changing. So we talk about that. And I feel like I really get to know my coaches through this process. And then once the new coach mentorship is over, they're already added into the coach group. I encourage them to run a challenge group with the other newer coaches, and they get to kind of form friendships with the newer girls. So yeah, it's worked really well for me. It's taken me about 2 years to find this process. But once you find it and once it feels good, then don't fix it, Any tips on growing your IG to 60K? Did you do that all organically? Okay, so I did use Instagram, I think was the format way back when. I think I used that twice for like a week. And so obviously that didn't provide me like instant huge success, and then it was banned. So I don't use anything now. But one thing I would recommend is take time to make your photos look super appealing. Bright lights, people are attracted to those things. So you want to think about if they're scrolling through and they're bored, you want a photo that's going to catch their attention and make them want to read more. I would tag companies in a lot of my posts, and then they would repost it with my permission. And then I would get a lot of those product people over to my page. Excuse me. There were a few meal prep things that I did that Beachbody reposted, so then I got a bunch of coaches onto my page, which is great. So just consistently posting though too. I made it a goal of mine to post 5 to 6 times a day. Now I know Instagram is changing and there's a lot of things that are unknown about the algorithms and stuff, but I still try to post between, 3 to 6 times a day. You have to remember now that we're open to the UK, their time zones are so different. So your, 8 p.m. post on Sunday night that's supposed to get all this engagement, you're totally missing that UK market or, someone who works the night shift. So just remember that there isn't a perfect time to post your one post. You have to remember that your ideal avatar could be on social media at 2 a.m. So you really just have to make sure that you're posting throughout the day, sharing your journey, sharing your story, sharing some fun, things about you, that sort of thing. So I think just consistency and being myself and, kind of that sort of thing is what kind of, and moose definitely helped. Did you eventually plug in all of your paper and pen people into Streak? I didn't because that would have taken me days. Remember, I was reaching out to 50 people a day, and it took me, so I had 3 emeralds on one leg trying to get to diamond and none on the other. So I was still an emerald coach. And so it took me a little bit to get to diamond, unfortunately, but it made me stronger. And again, what Megan was saying, all of that hard work that I was putting forth every single day then just created this momentum in my business, even after Diamond. So that was really exciting. What I did do is anybody who messages me on Facebook like page or on Instagram, I instantly tell them to reach out to me on email. That way I can just keep track of all my people in one spot, because I was trying too hard to keep track of different places and I just couldn't. I couldn't wrap my head around it. So it was so much easier for me to just be like, email me. And if they didn't, then they weren't my people. So that's just kind of my own thing. Yeah. Where were you finding 50 people a day to message? Hashtags. I would just look at one hashtag and I would find 50 people using that hashtag that had to do with my, my cup of tea, my avatar. So a lot of teacher hashtags, a lot of newlywed hashtags, a lot of puppy hashtags, just kind of relevant to my life. And then obviously the people who like and follow you, you can take a whole nother day to look at those people and see if either robots or Beachbody coaches, or, if you have 27 likes and 20 of them are Beachbody coaches and 6 of them are robots, but you have that one person who's silently following you and silently liking stuff, and that one person is the person you can help lose 50 pounds. That's the excitement of following up with everybody. But you have to kind of do your research first. I'm not going to message the robots or the coaches, obviously. I would maybe just say like, hey, thanks for your support, just to create, the relationship with other Beachbody coaches. But so your 50 people a day, is that private message, or would you comment and post? Yep. So I would like some of their pictures, I would comment on some of their photos, and then I would message them. I sometimes would even follow them if I really was excited about the opportunity of having them on my team. But then I would just message them and say, oh my gosh, I stumbled upon your Instagram account. We have so much in common. Want to be my friend? I know some coaches share their weekly calls on YouTube. Do you? I like your style. Oh, thanks, Bridget. We do a bi-weekly call. So my upline, Jamie, and I are like best friends now, which is so exciting. I love her to death. But she runs a coach call every Monday night. And so my team does one every other Sunday, just so that it's not too overwhelming for those girls who are working. But it's one of my frogs, but I would like to beef up my YouTube channel a little bit. Right now it's really sad. And it's like the pre-Amy that plucked her eyebrows to the extreme. So it doesn't even look like me if you go onto my YouTube channel. Like all those videos are way old and I had no idea what I was talking about at the beginning. But it is one of my goals. And I think if we do land top 10, right now we're ranked number 10, then that will be something that I definitely need to like hire and help with, because I have no idea how to do videos. But anyway, yeah, I appreciate you guys so much, and these questions are awesome. And, if you ever have anything else that you need or need any help or anything, don't be afraid to reach out.
I had a question, because I know so many people get to that point where they're so busy and they go through, I'm like, do I hire an assistant? Do I keep drowning myself? Do you have one? And if you do, when did you get one, or do you do it all yourself?
Yeah, so to give you an idea, I was helping close to 50 people a month. So around 100 Success Club points a month. And then, onboarding 20 to 30 people. So once your numbers get a little overwhelming, my whole philosophy with my coaching is I want to be there for my people. I don't want to continue doing the other stuff that doesn't have to do with my coach's interaction. So I hired an assistant, which was a big deal for me. Again, being type A and being very controlling of, this is my business and this is how I like to do this. And I really enjoy creating. So anything on Canva was my style. I'm on the Minnesota Market Council, and my job is solely for creating images and graphics and things like that, because I love doing that. But unfortunately, that's not one-on-one attention with my challengers or coaches. So I hired out at the beginning, and this was 2 months ago. So I just got an assistant. It was one of those things that I knew I needed to do, but didn't want to do it because I felt like I could do it all, which I can't. So she does my coach recognitions. I post every Monday in my team page, you know, the Success Club leaderboard. She has now helped me with some of my challenge group posting. So she'll like schedule out my posts for me. I still like to comment on my challengers. I try to do it once a day. I have about 4 challenge groups running right now. 2 of them are 80-day groups, which are a long freaking time, but we're still going strong. So I try to check in with my challengers daily. And, you know, I don't know if you know or have been watching my story unfold, but I am now single, and it's just Moose and I, and so I have a little more time, and I enjoy doing that before bed. So that's kind of my routine now. I, you know, love to just kind of fill my bucket up by seeing how my challengers are succeeding. So I kind of put aside like a half hour before bed to go into all my challenge groups and comment on their check-ins. And then, of course, with my coaches, we have that new coach mentorship, or I always tell them they can message me. So if you have a question or you need something, message me. If it's something that you could maybe ask the team, post it on the team page. And of course, make sure you've Googled it first. But anything that's personal or they need help from me directly, they can message me. So then I'll go into my messages and make sure I'm constantly communicating with them.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you can give something away, I cannot outsource my challenge groups because I feel like I need to know them and talk to them. But the graphics, like the taking the time for leaderboards, like I think it's very important to do. And I stopped doing it because I didn't have the time to take it.
Right. And I have a system too in my streak where if they fill out a type form for a challenge group, my assistant will go in and kind of shoot back my generic email to kind of give them the information they want. But as soon as they email me back after the generic email, then it's mine. So my assistant will go in and kind of just do like the first step so that step is done for me, which is a huge help. Because some people answer, some people don't. So
thank you. I think that's helpful.
Yeah. It was really hard for me though. Because it's like your baby, your business.
I agree. Does anyone else have any other questions? I feel like you covered them all.
Awesome.
Thank you for taking your time. I know you're really busy and you're crushing it. So good luck on top 10. That's super exciting. Yeah,
we'll see next month. I know there's a lot of coaches who are kind of, you know, working behind the scenes, and then bam, there they are. So it was fun. It was fun for a couple weeks or a couple months.
Hey, you never know. It could still be.
All right, ladies. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thanks. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.